All right, recruits. Doing Magic Kingdom? Worried there's too much with not too much time? Well, don't worry. You've come to the right place, because today we're going to talk about our best strategies to do everything in Magic Kingdom. We don't have much time. Let's get started. Now, when it comes to doing Disney World, it can be pretty overwhelming because, frankly, there's a lot to do. Whether it's your first time or your 100th time, things are always changing around here. So today we're going to talk about our best strategies for doing everything in Magic Kingdom in one day. You ready? There's a lot to learn. Hey, you. Psst. Come here. I have some information you might want to know about. This is going to be before the park even opens. That's how serious this is. Are you ready to be agents or no? Because this is where it's your time to shine. Before the park opens. So, on midnight before the park opens or anytime well before 7 a.m., you're gonna purchase Genie Plus. If you don't know what that is, that's Disney's skip the line service, okay? 3 tiers, write them down. First is free. It's a tip board, super simple, gives you suggestions. Not really the best tool, but it's free, so we let it pass. Number 2, this is where you're gonna get into the nitty-gritty, the financial side of things, okay? This is Genie Plus. This is gonna give you access to most of the lightning lanes to get through most of the rides in Disney World, but not all, and can get pricey, so be careful how you use it. Finally, the 3rd tier is going to be those individual lightning lanes. There's at least 1 in every single park. There's 2 in Magic Kingdom, and essentially that's the biggest ride in that park, the most popular, and you're gonna have to pay extra to get on that ride. But luckily, it's just cash. Nothing big like us spies are used to pay, like, you know, sacrificing things. So hopefully well before today, because the spies have planned and we know all the secrets, you and your family are connected on the My Disney Experience app. If you don't know what that is, go to your friends and family section, make sure everybody's linked up. Now that you've bought Genie Plus, the park isn't open yet, but it's around 6:50 a.m. That's when I like to do it. That's when I like to prep for Genie, okay? Because at 7 a.m. is when things get real. It's go time, and you're not just agents in training anymore. At 7, you're agents in the field. This is when we need to briefly talk about virtual queues as well. There's 2 of them, one in Epcot, one in Magic Kingdom. This is essentially a free line you get to get in, so that way you can access 2 of the biggest rides in those parks. However, that's the only way you can get access to them. So if you're not in that virtual queue and you're not paying for an individual lightning lane, you're not gonna get on the rides, and you wanna get on these rides. Now, if you're doing Epcot or Magic Kingdom, this is where things are gonna get dicey if you're doing Genie and a virtual queue. So at 7 a.m., you're gonna do the virtual queue first. This guy is gonna sell out. It's gonna go fast, and you're gonna blink and it's 7:01 and it's gone. 6:58, I need you ready. You're on the home screen. You've confirmed your party. Your whole family's there. Your friends are there. At 6:59, you're gonna start refreshing. I even like to pull up a website called time.is. So that way I know the exact time. Because at 7 on the dot, those virtual queues are dropping. And normally by 7:01, they're gone. Now we've got our virtual queues though. It's only 7:01. You're not done yet. Don't relax. This is where Genie comes into play. Because now it's time for your first lightning lane of the day. Now in Magic Kingdom, when it comes to that lightning lane, we've got 2 major suggestions. Either number 1, Jungle Cruise, or number 2, Peter Pan's Flight. Both are different, both are good. Neither one's a bad choice, but for some people, Peter Pan isn't worth all that. For me, it is. It's up to you and your crew, but you need to decide before the day of. Now, if you're using a single phone, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go for that virtual queue first, and then you're gonna go for the lightning lane. But if you wanna know any top secret agent tips, let's try to get 2 phones. If you've got an agent friend around or just a family member or friend, have them do one of those things. That way they can be done at the same time. You're gonna get a better individual lightning lane because of it, and there's gonna be less stress, and it's over like that. Now, we've already touched on it a little bit, but those individual lightning lanes, yeah, there's 2 of them here in Magic Kingdom. A little bit different from the rest of the parks. One is gonna be 7 Dwarfs Mine Train. Kiddie coaster that's tons of fun, takes you to the mines, and has a long wait time. The other, Tron. You enter the grid. It's a high-flying roller coaster adventure in the dark. Tron's the one you're going to use that virtual queue for, but if you decide that's too stressful or if you miss out on it, another opportunity is through another individual lightning lane. When it comes to individual lightning lane, me personally, I like to save a little cash, so I go for the virtual queue with Tron. But if you're not somebody who wants to chance it, because the virtual queue calls you back whenever it's ready, not necessarily when you're ready. If you want a for sure time, go for Tron. Buy that one. But if we're doing everything and you're trying to save some money, go for the virtual queue for Tron and go for the individual lightning lane with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think I've said too much. Meet me outside.
So I see you found the meetup location. Not half bad, kids. But now, the park is open. And it's time to get serious. We have our virtual queues, individual lightning lanes, and first lightning lane of the day. But the park opening, that's when it matters. Park is open? Not quite. But you said, the park is open. We're going to the park opening, but if you're there after the park is open, the mission has been compromised. No, you need to do a little rope drop situation, right? Let's ride. If you don't know what I'm talking about, rope drop is when you're there before the park opens, so that way you're one of the first people to be able to get in line when Magic Kingdom opens at 9 a.m. Now, there's two different solid ways to rope drop here at Magic Kingdom. The first, my preferred method, the Adventureland rope drop. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to start in Adventureland because Disney has what they call early entry for some resort guests. Now, if you're a resort guest, you need to be using that. But if you're not, Adventureland is my preferred way to go. Adventureland is essentially when you're going to head over to Adventureland. You're going to hop onto as many rides as possible, starting with Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, Big Thunder Mountain, and Haunted Mansion if there's enough time and we're able. After that, breakfast, but that's not the only option. No, if you're not into Adventureland, or if your, priorities are a bit different, you can do Fantasyland. Now, this is something that Breedlove lives and breathes and dies by. He's a Fantasyland rope dropper. And frankly, he's not wrong. This is when you're going to hopefully hop in line for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train to save yourself a little bit of money. And you might wait a minute, but it'll certainly be less than peak wait times during the day. Once you're able to do that, hopefully you'll be able to head over to Peter Pan's Flight. Secret Agent Inside Information. If you're going to pull a Genie Plus Lightning Lane for Jungle Cruise, consider doing the Fantasyland rope drop. If you're going to pull a Lightning Lane for Peter Pan, consider doing Adventureland. This is how you're going to make the most of your time by switching which one. They work in tandem, not against each other. Now, rope drop can last up to an hour. Typically, Magic Kingdom opens around 9 a.m. Times can vary. So by 10, rope drop is pretty much over. But play it by ear. This is where you're going to have to think on your feet. Use your skills and your agent training. So for example, if you're doing an Adventureland rope drop and by the time you get over to Big Thunder Mountain, it's already 25 minutes, but Haunted Mansion is only 13, go to Haunted Mansion. Don't waste Big Thunder. You can always use a lightning lane for it later. This is where you're trying to maximize and do as much as possible as quickly as possible. Now, we're doing everything, right? That includes food. Post rope drop is when it's great time for breakfast. Wait times are getting up, shows haven't quite started just yet, and you're hungry. You're gonna need fuel for the mission, right? I've got some options for you. 3 top options. In my opinion, if you're going for a sweet breakfast, the absolute best is going to be that fruit Nutella waffle or a Mickey waffle at Sleepy Hollow Refreshments. You can't top it, folks. It's wonderful, and it is sweet. Now, if you're looking for savory, I've got 2 options for you, depending on where you are in the park. If you're towards the Tomorrowland side of things, consider doing the lunching pad. I don't typically offer this one as an option, but it's delicious. They have a breakfast bowl. I highly recommend it, but that's really the only thing there for breakfast. So if you need a bigger array, that's when you're going to head over to Friar's Nook, the Robin Hood themed quick service in Fantasyland. Absolutely amazing. Check out these sausage and gravy tots if you're looking for a little something savory, but they've got more options than the other 2. Now, we've eaten breakfast, but we're not done. Meet me in the kitchen.
Good. I see you made it. Let's talk about what happens after breakfast. Post-breakfast is when we're going to start looking at those shorter wait times, friends. But don't forget about those lightning lanes you made. Whether the park's been open for 2 hours or you've used your first lightning lane, likely it's time to make another. This is where you're going to start looking at that priorities list that I know you made because you've already done your homework. You wouldn't have made it this far in the Spy Academy had you not. Now that second lightning lane is where your priorities are coming in, of course, but it also depends on what that rope drop situation looked like. Now after those recommendations, it's really going to depend on what is the latest. So say Space Mountain only has lightning lanes for 8 p.m., but Haunted Mansion has them for 6:30. Go for Space Mountain. It means they're running out of lightning lanes, and we don't want that. Now we've settled our lightning lanes, we know what our plan of attack is. Let's check out those shorter wait times. This is where you're going to start looking for things like Mad Tea Party, maybe Enchanted Tales with Belle if it isn't too bad, Carousel of Progress, People Mover, Under the Sea with the Little Mermaid. Play it by ear, be willing to fluctuate, but also don't forget your training. Now we know where we're headed, but what about show times? Parades. We might be missing one now. It's parade time. Now, there's 2 parades that happen in Magic Kingdom. It's the same Festival of Fantasy parade, but it happens twice. Once at noon and once at 3 p.m. Now, I don't have a hard preference which one you're doing. That's up to you, Spy. But I do care where you watch it. Now, one thing to note before we get into all this is sometimes the parades can change. Unforeseen things happen, but that's what you're ready for. You've been preparing for it. Keep on your toes. Things like one parade, times could change, characters could be missing. Back to where you watch it. 2 options. First option, Frontierland. If you want to be done quickly but see the entire parade, have a good time, start in Frontierland. The parade kicks off there and it's over in about 12-ish minutes, so you're really not going to waste that much time and you're going to catch it at the beginning. The second place is in case you're running behind, and that's going to be on Main Street. It says the parade starts at 3 o'clock, and that's true, but is it going to get to you at 3 o'clock? Not necessarily. So if you're running behind, head to Main Street because it's going to take about 12 to 15 minutes to get all the way down, and if you're running behind, head to Main Street and you won't miss a single second of it because we've done so much. We're probably getting a little hungry. Post-parade is a great time for lunch. Traditionally, if you have a lot of ride or character priorities, aim for a later lunch because ride times are going to tend to drop around noon to 1 p.m. when other people are chowing down at lunch. So if you eat a later lunch, you can optimize that time to ride extra rides and meet extra characters. This strategy tends to help us because it means that wait times are slightly lower, we optimize our day, and we tend to get more done during this time. Don't waste it. But where are you eating lunch? I'll tell you. Just find me in the other room. I see you wore disguise too. Not half bad. Now let's talk lunch options because there's a lot, but they aren't all equal. Magic Kingdom isn't necessarily known for its dining options, that's true, but don't let that discourage you. Lunch is a great time to do one of 2 things. The first one is grab a sit-down dining reservation. Gonna help you get out of the heat for a while, get away from the crowds, and the food's gonna be a little bit better. There's gonna be 2 options, and one, Skipper Canteen, has a secret room, which is safer for us agents, and frankly, I think is a lot of fun theming and just a good time. One of our favorites. If you want to see a full review, it's on the channel right now. Now it's this second option. I can't believe I'm saying it. Tony's Town Square. Yes, I'm going there. It has an improved menu. It's gotten a lot better. And it has familiar options for those picky eaters. And it's not as expensive as other options. I like a lot of Magic Kingdom sit down, but if you're looking for something simple that might not break the bank, I'll say it, Tony's is improved. Now, we might not all have time for a sit down. These missions, we don't get all day, do we? So let's talk about our top 3 spots for quick services. Number 1, Columbia Harbor House. Columbia Harbor House tends to have healthier options if you need a vegetable, and trust me, on day 5 of this trip, you're gonna need a vegetable. Plus, it's pretty darn good quality. Number 2, Pecos Bill. Pecos has some familiar Mexican options, a little Americanized, if you will, if you're kind of burgered and chicken nuggeted out, because yeah, we all get there. Finally, Cosmic Rays has the classics. It tends to be busier, but burgers, chicken nuggets, you really can't mess that one up. Now, if you want to see more of these options, we have a full video on the channel, of course. Check it out. I'll see you there. Best things I ate in Magic Kingdom. Shh, don't give away our secrets. What are we doing after lunch? Can't see without my glasses. Now we're doing everything, so post-lunch tends to be a good time to do some character meet and greets. That's when a lot of those younger kiddos are kind of taking a nap during the day, and so you can maximize your time. This also tends to be a great time for one of those nice midday show breaks. It's the hottest part of the day, and I don't want to be outside anymore, and neither do you. We're agents, but we're not crazy. Yes, we are. When it comes to favorite shows, I have two. I love Mickey's PhilharMagic and the Tiki 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 Room. They're classics, they're wonderful. And another secret agent tip, take a Dole Whip into the Tiki Room. It's magical, helps you cool down, and you're guaranteed shade while you enjoy this melty and sticky ice cream treat. Also, I normally toss Country Bears onto this list, but it's closed for refurbishment until 2024, so you know what, and heck, I'll say it. I love the Carousel of Progress, which means you really can't go wrong with any of the shows. Just pick one that seems most interesting to you. They're all good. Now that shows and characters are wrapped up, this is when it's time to start picking back up with those rides we left off with. Things like Winnie the Pooh, Dumbo, Small World, etc. Make sure you're not doing anything twice if you already have a lightning lane for it, or if you think you can get a lightning lane for it later. I also find myself getting a little bit peckish during this time. It's hard being an agent, you guys understand. My current favorite are spring rolls, the pepper jack pretzel, and the Cheshire cattail. I think somebody's onto us. Meet me back this evening and I'll tell you the rest of the itinerary. Okay, it took me a while, but I was able to shake them. Let's talk about evenings in Magic Kingdom. We're wrapping up the rest of our day and it's almost time for fireworks. When it comes to fireworks, I like to go anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes early on those busier days to grab my favorite spot, which is right around the hub at the partner statue. If you don't want to be super close to the castle, definitely check out Main Street where you can still see the castle, but you can see the Main Street projections too. It's a little bit easier to get out because you're not all the way at the front of the castle at the end of the night, but my preference is always going to be around the partner statue. My absolute favorite spy trick to being productive while waiting on the show is grabbing Casey's corn dog nuggets to eat on Main Street in your spot while you're waiting. Typically, I like to order them on mobile order about an hour before it's time for fireworks, so that way I can grab my corn dog nuggets and my liquid gold cheese and sit and wait for the perfection that is the Happily Ever After fireworks show. If you don't know what that is, Happily Ever After is essentially a collection of Disney stories telling you all about just that Disney magic. It shows a lot of your favorite things like Moana, Cars, Toy Story, Frozen, Tiana. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know a spoiler, please cover your ears. Tinkerbell flies over the crowd at the end of the night. And it's so good. It's wonderful. And it's outside of Fantasmic. That and Fantasmic are my favorite shows. So right now, Happily Ever After is starting at 8:45 p.m. However, starting on April 20th, it's going to be pushed back to 9 o'clock. So always check the My Disney Experience app so that way you know what time it's starting so you don't miss out on what should be the end of your perfect do everything day. Now with all of that, we finally made it to the end of our day post fireworks. And yes, we've done almost everything. And I say almost because now it's time to get in those last few rides. Traditionally, Happily Ever After, there's still about an hour after the show is over that you can enjoy the park until it's closed. Now, a lot of people end up leaving at this time. I know that I have before when you've had a long day, but if we're trying to maximize and do everything, you gotta keep going. Now, unless you bought the individual lightning lane for it, you might not have ridden Seven Dwarfs Mine Train yet. There's a few ways you might have hopped on, but in case you didn't, this is the perfect way to end your night. And after you've done all of that, it's time for a little treat, a reward, because you did everything. Head over to Plaza Ice Cream on Main Street and grab yourself a little something and kind of sit and enjoy the last few minutes of the park being open, because you deserve it. You've done it all. You survived the mission. You made it through, and you did everything in Magic Kingdom. I'm so proud of you guys. You used all of your training, and we've spent all day together working on this. And now you're ready to go out and head into the mission. If you guys like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Now you can go see how to have the best day ever in Magic Kingdom without Genie Plus. I'll see you there.